All right, I think there's some very interesting games, especially a historic type of line. There's some big home dogs. We'll get into it all. Chad's favorite game of the week. Right now, from the Action Network, Chad Millman joins us here on the Sports Bash on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Welcome back, Chad. How you been?
I am good. How are you guys?
All is well on a happy hour Friday, although it's raining pretty profusely here. All right, the rain could be a factor this weekend, too. We saw some rain in the game on Thursday night that had a little bit of a factor in the middle of that game. But I want to start with the big one in terms of the line. Opened at 21, 19.5. You know people are going to look at that, and that number will start enticing people when you have the Chiefs and the Jets. I'm sure this is something that you guys have chewed on a lot at the Action Network.
It's almost like when the rock meets the hard place, right? Like every single professional bettor in the world would tell you there is no way that you should spend money on a team that is a 19.5-point favorite, which is why when the game opened at 21, it was bet down to 19.5. The challenge is that this is the New York Jets we're talking about, and they are so epically bad going against a team that really can score at will. And I don't think people should be fooled by what the Bills, by what the Jets did against the Bills. Like the Bills are a team that has been struggling more offensively. They are not the Kansas City Chiefs who just put up God knows how many points on the Broncos, which have a really good defense. So as much as I hate to say it, I'd go with the Chiefs. It's like I'd rather just be rooting for the Chiefs and not be sweating Adam Gase.
That's a good way to put it. All right. So you like the Chiefs in that big one. I kind of agree. When it went down to 19.5, it's like, I only have to win by 3 touchdowns. That seems doable here. What about another one that moved a lot? Bengals start at 3.5. They're up to 6.5, 7 at some places.
Yeah, this is a weird one for me. Like the Titans have just not shown that they are consistently good. They have sort of been struggling in every one of their games except that game against the Bills, which is the pattern here. I don't think the Bills are as good as they were the first 4 weeks of the season, and I think they've been a little bit exposed. The Titans have struggled in every game, and we saw it this past week against the Steelers, where the Steelers came out with Ben Roethlisberger, who's not playing that great, and they just completely blew him out until sort of the last 10 minutes of that game. The Bengals, like Joe Burrow, keeps this team in games, and I would not want to be betting against him. And then there's sort of the historical patterns, right? Like you're not going to bet on a team that is as big a road favorite as the Titans are almost in any capacity, especially when you're seeing the kind of money coming in on the Titans. That is a recipe made for betting on the home underdog.
You mentioned the Steelers, so why don't we go down that road? Ravens opened up as a 5.5-point favorite. It's now 4.5 in some places. You can get the Steelers at a 4 or 4.5-point underdog. What are your thoughts?
So this game is really interesting right now. This game, like you said, it opened at 5.5. Just to be clear, though, it got bet down all the way to 3. Like people were coming in hard on the Steelers because of what they did against the Titans, because they're undefeated. They became very much a public team. As soon as this game got to 3, I was on the Ravens. And I even like the Ravens up to 4. I kind of like them at 4.5. If you look at some of the stuff we have at Action Network and you listen to the Action Network NFL podcast, like one of our guys has the Ravens as 6-point favorites in this game. So I think there's still a little bit of cushion here to bet on the Ravens. You're getting a really good team, a really, really well-coached team in the Ravens coming off a bye. I think this is a game where the Steelers truly see what it's like to play against a defense that can do things to Ben Roethlisberger that make him more uncomfortable than what he's been all year. And he has not looked comfortable throwing the ball. He's almost got like this Phillip Rivers push thing. Last week he had 2 passes over 20 yards. Both of them were picked off. So I like the Ravens here.
Chad Millman from the Action Network. He's the chief content creator. And in my lifetime of doing this, I don't know that the Bills have ever beaten the Patriots. Yet the Patriots are sitting here as a 4-point underdog in this game. Are we finally bailing on the Patriots and believing in the Bills?
God, this one is so hard. I almost feel like I'm probably going to skip this one. And I hate to cop out here, but the Bills, to me, have been regressing to the mean, which is they're playing a little bit like a team that hasn't quite figured out what they're good at. Their defense just hasn't been the same. The Patriots, like, I was all over the Patriots last week when the line moved from 5.5 to 2.5, and I thought, I'm getting the Patriots at 2.5 at home, and then they get blown out. And, like, I just think there's a real issue with quarterback right now. And it's hard to make a wager on a team, even as a, 3 to 5 point underdog. Right now, they're 3.5 to 4 on a team when I'm just have no confidence in their quarterback.
So many intriguing games. Let's see. This is one, too, that I find interesting. What are you doing with Miami? 3.5 dog at home. Rams traveling across the country. I know it's hard with Tua, who we have a very small sample size, a half. And they're coming off of a bye. They're playing well. But, I mean, the Dolphins are a home dog here.
Yeah, you take the home dog. But the Rams have not been so good that you can look at them and not think they're impacted by a variety of factors, including a short week, including playing against a team that continues to improve every single week. And the Dolphins, like, with Tua back there, who am I to get to second guess Brian Flores, right? Like, he's been a coach who has consistently had this team playing above their talent level for a year and a half now. Getting a guy of Tua's talent, like, he knows what he's doing. He's not putting him back there because the guy's been stinking it up in practice. Like, he must be dominating in practice. And so if you put a quarterback back there, as much as I love Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's more dynamic, against a defense that I think can be had at times, if you're not throwing to Jalen Ramsey's side, then I think this is a really interesting matchup, and I would take the Dolphins.
What about Seattle at home against the 49ers? They're favored by 3. It opened up there. It's pretty much there now, staying there. The 49ers, they can plug and play whoever at the running back position. They're going to have a great day. I know that they're banged up with injuries, but it seems like they're turning the page a bit.
Yeah, I actually like the Seahawks here. I like a short home favorite. And I think that to me, the difference is, look, the Niners have been injured in so many different ways. And even last week, like, they went to New England, they beat up on New England. I thought the Raheem Mostert injury would be much more impactful, but then they lost another running back this past week. And so now they're also losing Deebo Samuel, who I think for that offense creates a real dynamic element because he's so good at the counter plays. He's so good at getting a defense off balance and over pursuing to one side and then acting as a running back on some of their counter reverses. I like the Seahawks at home here, especially coming off sort of a really tough loss.
All right. Chad Millman's with us from the Action Network. Make sure you get to theactionnetwork.com, download their app. You can check out all of the odds from all the different apps. Whatever app you like or use, you can check out lines and, compare them. Like this one, Eagles-Cowboys opened at 7.5. It's up to 10.5. I mean, 10 and the Philadelphia Eagles are giving double digits. It's 10 at BetMGM, 10.5 at everywhere else. I mean, who in their right minds would put the Eagles? Is the money just pouring in on that side?
Well, yeah, but that's because of the quarterback situation for the Cowboys. That's it. And so, like, to me, this is a stay away game because there's still no firm word on Andy Dalton. Mike McCarthy came out and said today they're still evaluating whether or not he's going to play this weekend. So I don't know how you can make a bet on this game unless, like, you were getting it very, very early and, like, as soon as it opened at 7.5, you're betting it. Anyone who's betting the Eagles at 10.5 is a sucker right now. Anyone who's betting the Cowboys at 10.5 thinks they know something that hasn't been announced.
Chad Millman's favorite game of the week.
All right, here you go. You ready? It's not sexy, but as they said when they arrested Al Capone, it's for tax evasion. It's not sexy. It's not sexy, but it's got teeth. I like the Indianapolis Colts right now, who are 2.5 point favorites on the road at Detroit. I normally do not like to bet road favorites at all, but this Detroit team is sort of at peak betting hysteria right now because of what they did against the Jags 2 weeks ago, what they did against the Falcons last week and coming back. people haven't seen the Colts play for 2 weeks. When they were playing, a lot of their players on defense were getting injured, and sort of the strength of that team was starting to struggle a little bit. But now they're back after a 2-week layoff. They have the players back on defense. I am never going to bet against Frank Reich needing a field goal against Matt Patricia. It's like at every level, from the top down. You're talking like better coaching, better game planning, better strategy, better defense against a team that has won 2 in a row and is probably starting to feel full. So give me the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, a road favorite in that game. It started at 3. It's 3, 2.5, depending on where you're looking. At BetMGM, 2.5, DraftKings 3. You can get all those odds at the Action Network. He's Chad Millman, and of course he joins us each Friday with a little run around at all these games. And of course he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. All right, Chad, win everybody some money.
I'm trying, man. Talk to you later.
All right, pal. That's Chad Millman, at Chad Millman on Twitter. He's the Chief Content Officer at the Action Network.